Radhe Radhe. Take a moment to reflect on this question. Don't we try to understand the nature of our loved ones, our life partner, parents, siblings, friends, relatives, colleagues, and business associates? We pay attention to what they like, what they dislike, what brings them joy, and what makes them uncomfortable. We observe their preferences and aversions, don't we? But have you ever paused to think, what does Krishna like? What displeases him? What kind of actions bring him joy and satisfaction? What is his nature? Why does he, the Supreme Lord of the universe, the Master of all realms, take incarnations to establish truth, justice, and Dharma? What is his divine essence? How is he the foundation of every being and every element in creation? Have you ever felt this curiosity? Have you ever tried to understand Krishna? Krishna himself reveals these answers in the Bhagavad Gita. He explains his nature, his personality, and the path to reaching him. To understand him is to understand the very art of living. Immerse yourself in the wisdom of the Gita. Click the description and comment links below to explore further. Watch with your family and friends. More videos on devotion and knowledge are on the way. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and share with other devotees. I pray that this wisdom guides your life, refines your character, and helps your soul experience oneness with Lord Shri Krishna. Radhe Radhe.
O Krishna, on one hand, you glorify the path of karma sannyas, the path of renunciation, and on the other, you also praise the path of karma yoga, the path of selfless action. Please tell me decisively, which of these two paths is more beneficial?
Renunciation of action and selfless action are both noble paths leading to liberation. However, among the two, the path of selfless action is superior. One who neither hates nor desires anything or person, who is free from all dualities, is truly renounced. Liberated from worldly bondages, such a person is always close to attaining the Supreme. Those who are wise know for certain that both renunciation of action and selfless action are paths that lead to the same ultimate goal and realization. Only the ignorant believe that these two paths are different. The true essence of knowledge lies in understanding that the state achieved through analytical study of the self is the same as that attained through the path of selfless action. Only those who perceive this unity between the path of knowledge and path of action possess true knowledge. O mighty armed Arjuna, the journey for those who renounce action without embracing karma yoga is fraught with hardship. However, a karma yogi engaged in devotional service effortlessly attains the divine. One who acts selflessly for the welfare of others, whose heart is pure, who controls his mind and senses, experiences unity with all living entities. Although engaged in all sorts of activities, such a person never gets entangled in worldly attachments. A karma yogi established in divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, sleeping, breathing, always knows within himself that he is not the actual doer. Because while speaking, giving, accepting, or opening and closing his eyes, he is always aware that only his perishable senses are interacting with its sense objects, and his true self is always unattached. one who performs his duties without attachment, surrendering the fruits of his actions to the Lord, remains untouched by sin, just as a lotus leaf remains untouched by water. Karma yogis, free from attachment, perform actions through their body, mind, intellect, and also their senses for the purpose of self purification. One who acts without personal desires and offers the results of his activities to me experiences unadulterated peace. But those who act with selfish motives, disregarding the divine, remain ensnared in the material world. The embodied soul experiences pure peace and resides joyfully within his nine gated body. When he masters his nature and disengages himself from the outcomes of his actions, he understands that he is neither the source nor the agent of any present or future actions. The Supreme Lord, residing in the heart of all living beings, neither assigns duties nor dictates the outcomes of actions for anyone. Each person's inherent nature is molded by the three modes of material nature, and that determines their behavior and actions. The Lord is never involved in the sinful or pious actions of humans. It is one's own ignorance, born of delusion, that clouds their knowledge and keeps them confused. But when a person dispels ignorance through knowledge, his wisdom illuminates everything and lights up his life, just as the sunshine lights up the world during the daytime. One who possesses unwavering faith and complete surrender to the Supreme Lord, whose intelligence is steadfast in the divine, whose mind is always absorbed in Him, gets cleansed of sinful reactions, and gains transcendental wisdom. He eventually attains liberation from the cycle of birth and death forever. Such wise and humble individuals, who perceive all beings as equal, view a learned and gentle Brahmin, an elephant, a dog, and even an outcast with the feeling of sameness and impartiality. One who has attained such equanimity of mind is truly liberated. With an unwavering perception of absolute Brahman, wherever they look, they perceive only the divine and thus get established in the divine. One whose knowledge is firm, who is never confused, who understands the true science of God, remains established in the divine nature of the Supreme Lord. Such a wise person is neither elated by favorable outcomes nor dejected by unfavorable ones. His intellect remains steady in all circumstances. Such a liberated soul, who is never attracted by worldly pleasures, experiences divine bliss that arises from within. His mind remains fixed on the divine, and he experiences boundless joy at all times. Sensory pleasures are temporary, with a definite beginning and an end. The wise understand this and do not depend on sense objects for happiness, knowing that misery arises in their absence. One who controls his desires and anger and is able to resist the urges of the senses experiences lasting peace and enjoys nectar in this very life. One who has found the source of joy within and remains absorbed in that inner bliss, established in the radiance of his inner light, attains the state of Brahman and gets liberated. The holy sages, who are actively engaged in the welfare of all living entities, who are free from sins, desires, doubts, and envy, eventually come to realize the Brahman and attain the Supreme. Enlightened beings, who have conquered their desires and anger, mastered their minds, and realized their true essence, are close to attaining the state of Brahman. By withdrawing from all sense objects and keeping them outside the realm of the senses, fixing the gaze at the point between the eyebrows, and balancing the incoming and outgoing breaths evenly within the nostrils, the sage gradually gains control over the mind, senses, and intellect. By such disciplined practice, the sage gradually becomes free from desire, anger, and fear, and becomes completely liberated. One who has realized that I am the ultimate enjoyer of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all worlds, and the well wisher of all living beings. Such a yogi experiences true peace.